All right. Let's talk about GTA 6 and action. What's up, guys? It's Lyoko Sector here. I hope you haven't been missing me too much, because frankly, I have not missed you all that much, which is nothing against you personally. I'm just a very busy man, and, we're not involved a lot together in our lives, and so, I'm just focusing on other things right now. Glad to see that you're still here and watching my content, so I appreciate it. It's good to see you again. But anyways, so as you've probably seen from the title of the video, let's talk about GTA 6 because we got a lot of news, a lot of information. I know I just recently uploaded that cover art reveal, and that was something pretty crazy. So, but now it's kind of time to get down to the nitty gritty because, as before mentioned in that cover art reveal, the pre-orders went live June 25th. So obviously it is beyond that date now by the time of recording this video. So we got a whole ton of more details about the various editions of the game, pre-order bonuses, all that kind of stuff. There's tons of people making YouTube videos about this, so I'm not going to go over all of it in too much depth. Just kind of express some of my thoughts and stuff like that. I'll try to keep this video pretty simple. But let's jump into it, shall we? But of course, before then, we must have a drink. Sounded pretty intense for some reason. That carbonation coming out of this bottle. Cheers, guys. Oh, yeah. That calms the shakes. As a certain Irish YouTuber would once say. Anyways, so let's get right into it. So I'm on the official Rockstar page here. Grand Theft Auto 6. Here's that lovely cover art that we got revealed, except kind of in a much more wider format, which is pretty interesting. But pre-orders started June 25th at midnight local time, so apparently New Zealand was the first to get all that, which New Zealand gets a whole ton of stuff early or whatever. For some reason, they got black magic over there in New Zealand or something to just be the center point of everything starting. Available for pre-order again on June 25th. GTA Ultimate Edition, which we'll go ahead and talk about here in a little bit. Single player experience, very interesting choice of words there for that one. I've seen a lot of people talk about that. November 19th. And then purchases before November 20th. So that's interesting. You can pre-order essentially all the way up to the day past the launch, which I think is a pretty interesting detail for that one. To still get the vintage Vice City pack for that one. So even if you don't pre-order all the way up to launch and you get convinced to do it on launch, you'll get that edition with it, which is pretty nice because, not a lot of pre-order bonuses allow you to get it once the game actually comes out. We're going to talk about this here a little bit later on, but physical version of Grand Theft Auto 6 containing a download code inside the box. Preloading will start November 12th for all that. Getting the Ultimate Edition, get a free month of GTA Plus included, which I'll talk about that a little bit later here in a second also. Much more at Rockstar Games right there. So we'll go ahead and go on to the next page. So this is the next page from that link right there. Coming November 19th, PS5, Xbox Series X and S. Sadly, no PC at launch, but we've had it against us in video games for many, many years and all that. So there's this lovely little interactive video here. So there are two editions of GTA 6. There's the Ultimate Edition, which we'll go into more details there. And there's the regular version. And then if you pre-order or get it on the 19th, you'll get this vintage Vice City pack as a nice little treat for pre-ordering there. And then we have this lovely little interactive video thing, which, a lot of people are like looking at, over analyzing, all that good stuff. talking about how there's no reflection in the water, how there's like a floating light right here and stuff like that. But I mean, come on, I think that's like the least of our concerns for all of this. But yeah, looks really nice, pretty cool. Vice City, various other things here. Jason and Lucia have always known the deck is stacked against them, but when an easy score goes wrong, they find themselves at the darkest side of the sunniest place in America, in the middle of a criminal conspiracy stretching across the state of Leonida, forced to rely on each other more than ever if they want to make it out alive. So, fun little synopsis there of the story. There's a nice little picture of them in that little thing for that one. So, yeah. So I guess we'll kind of just go over things one at a time real quick. So if you click on the pre-order button right here, you get this pop-up that shows the various editions of the game. So anyways. All right, so we have 2 additions to the game. I'm curious to see if there'll be any other editions that come out later. Potentially a collector's edition or something along those lines. I imagine they have to do. GTA 6 has to do something like a collector's edition or not. Red Dead Redemption had it. Grand Theft Auto 5 had it. I mean, it just makes sense, and I'm sure they can make a ton of money off of something like that. We'll just have to wait and see for sure exactly what happens and what comes up. But right now, with the launch of pre-orders, you can get 2 editions of the game. You have your standard edition, which, keep in mind, comes both digital or a code in the box. And then you have the ultimate edition, which only comes digitally, which I think is another interesting talking point that we'll kind of elaborate more into. But interesting that the ultimate edition doesn't even get a physical. They can't even do the code in the box for a physical ultimate edition, which is pretty interesting. Get the standard edition of Grand Theft Auto 6 along with pre-order bonuses. So there's that synopsis again. So you get the game with the standard edition. For pre-ordering, you get the Vice City pack flashback to when the neon burned the brightest with the vintage Vice City pack featuring the timeless two-tone 55 Vapid Stainer sedan and garage alongside the world-famous Ocean Beach. Decadent outfits and hairstyles for both Jason and Lucia in an iconic weapon pattern that echoes the excess of the past. So you can see and access all the various screenshots here for that. Very cool. This was one of my favorite vehicles to kind of drive in Vice City way back in the day. Some really nice outfits there for that. I like the transparent glasses on Jason there. There's that universal weapon skin, I guess you could call it there for that one, based off of Tommy Vercetti's shirt from Vice City. And there's another one for you. So very 80s looking, pretty cool. Fun that's a nice little pre-order bonus there for that one. Apparently this outfit's based off of Tony Montana's sister from Scarface, which is pretty cool. But yeah, nice hairstyles, clothing, all that kind of stuff. So you get that for pre-ordering either edition of the game. So nice little bonus there. And then of course you get a free month of GTA Plus for pre-ordering. Now, GTA Plus is very interesting in this situation because in all the advertising and marketing that we got since pre-orders went live for GTA 6, GTA 6 is being labeled as a single-player game. So it's very interesting that they're saying that specifically. So a lot of people are speculating what exactly is going to be going on in terms of the online component for GTA 6. Is there going to be an online component? Is the online component going to be a separate product from GTA 6? We just don't know. My best guess is that because they're marketing GTA 6 specifically as a single-player game, they're either doing that to avoid any kind of marketing issues or any focus away from the main game to something else. And they want to focus on GTA 6 first at the launch and all the marketing leading up to launch before they focus on online, because as we learned from a recent Rockstar leak, online is where they make the majority of their money. So it'll be interesting to see. I guess that's a good thing that it's being a single player focused game, but I mean, they're going to bring that online component at some point there, and you get this free month of GTA Plus for pre-ordering either edition of the game. So clearly there's going to be some, I mean, I'm pretty sure that that's not just going to be for, the folks who play GTA Online right now in the old GTA 5 game. I'm pretty sure that this is made specifically for GTA Online in the future after GTA 6 comes out. So not sure if it's going to come like a month later or several months down the line. Maybe GTA 6 Online won't come in until 2027. Who knows? But it's interesting that they include this in there with that when there's no online component for it. I'm surprised there aren't any online goodies at all, but I suppose you would want to just give them all the free stuff in the single player game, and then you can market and advertise all of the different, the shark cards. And I'm sure they'll have a ton of different stuff for you to spend money and buy in GTA 6 Online. So definitely pretty interesting. We're going to have to see where all that goes, but you get a free month of GTA Online included with that. And that's all you get with the standard edition. Now, what the scope of Grand Theft Auto 6 is in terms of just this edition by itself, no idea. Couldn't tell you. I don't even think the people of Rockstar know how much game is in this game. And we'll talk about that point here in a little bit in regards to gameplay, because we haven't seen any gameplay. Everything we've seen is marketing, cinematic trailers that show various bits and pieces here. We don't know how the game's going to play, what it looks like, all the stuff you're going to be able to do in it. Hopefully it would have more to do than in GTA 5, but I mean, we haven't seen gameplay, so we don't know. So I'll kind of maybe go back to that point here in a little bit. But it's interesting that they didn't do a gameplay trailer to coincide with the pre-orders going live, because you would think that they would want pre-orders to be as strong as they would be out the gate, especially because they have to make so much money back from this thing. Because they have a lot of money invested into this, and I'm curious how they're going to make this money back. And we'll kind of talk a little bit more about that in regards to the price here in a little bit. But you feel like they would try to make as much money as they could when pre-orders went live, by showing some kind of gameplay. Like drop a trailer 3, a gameplay trailer that is like the big, like, wow factor, like, holy fucking shit, this game is massive, it's amazing, it looks beautiful, I gotta pre-order this game. I'm surprised that they haven't done that yet. Granted, it's only about a week or so since the pre-orders went live. Maybe not even less than a week from when the pre-orders went live, but it's like, I haven't pre-ordered the game yet. I'm holding off on pre-orders at least until I get a gameplay trailer of some kind, which we'll probably get something later on down the line, more closer to launch. I would hope that we got something in July. That'd be kind of nice if I got that around my birthday in July. Shout out to my birthday next month. But anyways, yeah, so I'm holding off until I see gameplay. I'm sure a lot of people have already pre-ordered this game without hesitation, just because they're so hyped for the game. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see, but I'm holding off until I see gameplay, actual gameplay of GTA 6 before I put my money down for a pre-order. But I'm sure we'll get that at some point, of course. We're just going to have to wait and see. So that's everything that comes with the standard edition. My little rambles about that. Now we'll move on to the meat and potatoes of this whole discussion. The Ultimate Edition. An exclusive collections of items threaded across all aspects of Jason and Lucia's story. So, as disclosed before in the standard edition, you get the base game, you get the Vice City pack for pre-ordering, you get the free month of GTA Online. One of our first Ultimate Edition items is going to be the 95 Grotti Cheetah. Grotti's signature mid-90s sports car and ode to shore drive, the 95 Grotti Cheetah is complete with a minimalist, retro-futuristic livery and available to punctuate later stage action. So a lot of people are saying that this part right here, later stage action, implies that you won't be able to get this car until like way later in the story of the game. Apparently chapters are coming back, like in Red Dead Redemption 2. So yeah, that's kind of nice that it's not immediately unlocking a whole bunch of crazy stuff right out the gate. It doesn't say the Vapid Stainer from the Vice City pack. It doesn't say that this is locked to any particular stage or anything like that. So you might be able to get this right off the gate and start using it, but not the 95 Grotti Cheetah. But you can kind of see the screenshots here. Very nice, very detailed, very beautiful. Interiors look great, especially compared to GTA 5. I'm curious how much these details are going to factor into the actual game itself. I'm really hoping that Rockstar can massively improve the first-person experience. First person has always been something very difficult to do and get right in video games, especially in terms of gunplay and driving and all that kind of stuff. No, I don't think anybody expected Grand Theft Auto 5 to have a first-person mode way back in the day, and it was cool, but it was also kind of bare bones. The field of view was very tight, so sure, you're like inside your vehicle as you're driving, and it's first-person, and it's cool, but you could only look around like a strict field of view. You couldn't look down in some places. It just like trying to shoot your gun, shoot and drive at the same time in first person, that is just like a nightmare. And then you couldn't always look behind you in the back properly and stuff like that. So, Rockstar is putting a huge emphasis on the interiors of these cars. So I'm hoping that we at least have a wider field of view so we can actually see all the interiors. Maybe there's a button we can press to where we can kind of free cam look around and move our bodies a little bit in the cars and stuff like that. Or maybe if we're a passenger in a car, maybe not when we're driving, but maybe if we're a passenger in a car, we can appreciate the detail a lot more. Interiors look great, but interiors don't mean shit if you can't see it or you can't interact with it or appreciate it, if your field of view is just stuck in front of your steering wheel and stuff like that. So that's what my hope is with GTA 6, is that they fix the first person shooting and driving, and they just make it a lot more immersive, a lot more able to see detail. Imagine being able to look down and look at your feet, doing your acceleration or your braking, or changing your gear shift, or just having a wider field of view again. Like I said, just being able to just look around, you've got a pretty good field of view with your head, even if your hands are both on the wheel. You know what I mean? So I hope that we can appreciate the interiors a lot more by having more freedom to look around in them a lot more and have a bigger field of view of all of them. So it'll be interesting to see for sure. But yeah, that's the 95 Grotti Cheetah. Hank and Little Morgan revolvers, his and her versions of this powerful revolver with classic Vice City stylings, sourced from the Vassetti estate, including palm tree etched grips, engraved detailing, and high performance scope. Excuse me. The bubblies just went down the wrong way, I suppose. But yeah, so Hawk and Little Morgan revolvers. So a nice little set of revolvers here for Jason and Lucia. We also see a die pack here, which I'm wondering if that would kind of be maybe a fun, gag item in the game. You know what I mean? Imagine you could pay a good chunk of money to get a die pack, and then it's if somebody kills you in the game and you drop your money, if they pick it up, then they get die packed, and then it makes it harder for them to run away from the police. Or the police can spot them a lot easier and track them down a lot easier. That'd be a fun little thing to do. Rockstar, hire me. Get me up on that. We also see a switchblade here, which I'm pretty sure will be a melee weapon in the game. So that's kind of cool to see that. This looks like it doesn't look like it's the flip down version, although it possibly could. Or it might just be spring loaded or something like that, maybe. I don't know. Well, spring-loaded wouldn't make sense because you'd have to touch the sharp tip to close it up. So, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know weapons. Well, yeah, nice to see that there. And, of course, the main factor of the two revolvers here. Nice little gravings and etchings on there. Caminos and Duvall on there. That's Jason and Lucia's last names, which is pretty cool. And these are apparently references to dates for video games and stuff like that. Other Rockstar games, which is pretty cool. Curious to see if these are like these versions or if they're both the same revolver and they can just be customized a certain level. Like, can you only get the giant scope on Jason's gun, or can you only get this like thick barrel on Jason's gun? And is Lucia's only able to be pretty like bare bones minimum like this one? We don't know how the weapon customization is going to be, so we'll have to see there at some point as well. Personalized weapon variants, personalized sidearms with detailed engravings for Jason's Girardi ES9 pistol and Lucia's Close K17 pistol. So some nice special engravings for their default pistols, which will be nice. Nice to see that we get a little bit of variety in the default pistol. It kind of was weird having the same pistol in GTA 5 for all three of the characters just as the starting pistol, but so it looks like they're going to get unique pistols, which will be pretty cool. Oh yeah, another thing I wanted to point out. So they've apparently changed the naming scheme for their vehicles in GTA 6. So apparently GTA 5 had this really complex naming scheme where it was like, oh, if it was a car from a certain time period, it would be referred to as the classic or the, the vintage or something like that. And it was just a horrible naming scheme, but it looks like now they've switched over to actual like year date naming schemes. So the 95 Grotti Cheetah instead of like the Grotti Cheetah vintage or classic or something like that, which I think is a nice little change for all the car nuts out there. Shout out to Digital Car Addict on YouTube. Really thorough, in-depth GTA 5 YouTuber. He does a lot of videos on like the various cars of that and various updates and events. So shout out to him. Go check his content out if you're interested in all things GTA 5 and 6 cars. So we got those weapon variants. Vice City style, whether poolside or side-by-side, Jason and Lucia can look the part with exclusive outfits, tattoos, and more. So some very nice outfits here, and we'll kind of see across all the different parts of this Ultimate Edition, there's a whole lot of customization for these characters that can really change their looks exponentially. I've met some women that look exactly like this. Nothing against those women specifically. I mean, I'm just saying, they look nice. Let's just say that. So, but yeah, really nice detail with her hair there, especially too. Jason's safe house vehicles, switch gears and soak up the sun in an army-fatigued, tinged Dinka Enduro motorcycle and the Crest kayak. So this is Jason's starting home, safe house, whatever you want to refer to it as. He will have his main vehicle as your starting vehicle, but then if you pre-order the Ultimate Edition, you will also get access to a Dinka motorcycle and a kayak, which is interesting. Interesting that the kayak shows up here, like on his property, and not like on the water already. So I'm curious to see if with not just with kayaks, but with like boats in general, if we'll be able to, if they're light enough, we can like drag them from the shore to the water, if we'll have to do that, or if we'll just like interact with it and it'll just pop in the water already. I hope there's a good level of immersion in there with that one. Boats in GTA 5, they were kind of useless because of the way that the map was structured. It was fun to drive on a boat, but like everything was just like coastline and kind of like surrounded the whole island of Los Santos. And was cool, but there wasn't really a lot of ways to get access to like the inside of the island via water and stuff like that. And so the boats just kind of felt pointless. And another thing that I always hated about GTA 5 in terms of the boats is that occasionally when you're driving around in the open world, you would see boats being towed by trucks or SUVs or something like that, boats on like the boat carriers, right? And what was cool about that is that if you took that boat carrier and you actually like backed it up into the water, the boat would actually detach from that, and you could get in the boat and then you could drive it, which was really, really cool and a really immersive thing that I saw you could do. Now, what frustrates me so much about that is that you could only drop the boats off into the water from the trailer. You could never load a boat onto a trailer. So like I could steal that car and that boat and then take that to the dock and drop the boat off in the water, and it would be functional and I could drive it and all that kind of stuff. But then in terms of me being able to take that boat and put it back on the trailer and then drive it away with the boat on the trailer in a truck or something like that, couldn't do that. Once it was in the water and detached from the trailer, that was it. You couldn't put it back on there. So I'm really hoping that we have a good level of immersion and interactability with that. With like boats and stuff like that. So I hope the kayak does start there and you can just interact with it and like drag it into the water and kind of do that. And then you could like paddle to like a small island and drag the kayak onto it so that it doesn't float away. Yeah, that would be really cool. Or maybe we can get a little trailer for our kayak or load our kayak into the back of our car, maybe, possibly, hopefully. You never know. I just hope I just hope that this game is just a huge sandbox that we can just mess around with a ton of stuff and mechanics and just have a fun time and do whatever we want. There is a basketball hoop right here, and apparently basketball is in the game, so apparently you're going to be able to shoot hoops on that, which will be interesting to see if we can do that with this one specifically, or if we'll have to go to a location to do a little side thing for that. But yeah, you can see the Dinka motorbike and the kayak. So it's got a handle on here, so hopefully we can kind of pick that up and drag it around if we want. Ganado retro build. So apparently we're going to have access to some special customizations for Jason's starting vehicle. Inject some muscle and classic stylings into Jason's well-worn Vapid Ganado low-riding pickup with exclusive mods. So what exclusive mods, you ask? No idea. Couldn't tell you. It might be this paint job. It could be the tires. It could be a special engine or a special hood cover or something. I don't know what these special mods are. We're just going to kind of have to wait and see. Ride Out Customs mod shop. All right. So this is probably there's a lot of stuff about GTA 6 that is pretty contentious, but this is probably one of the big ones that people talk about. Locking various different kinds of shops and locations and side missions. Side missions from the main game if you don't own the Ultimate Edition. So as you can see, transform vanilla vehicles into magnificent works of art with detailed interiors, exquisite rims, and donk stylings. So apparently this shop in particular, Ride Out Customs, is going to be exclusive to people who own the Ultimate Edition of GTA 6. So if you do not have the Ultimate Edition, you do not have access to the shop, which can turn a vehicle like this into something like this. Which, I mean, you know, people are debating whether or not, that's good or not. I'm obviously an advocate for having as much content to do in the base game as we can. But, I mean, I can also understand that. I mean, what if they weren't going to do anything, if they weren't going to give you bonuses for online or anything like that, what exactly could they do to incentivize you to purchase the Ultimate Edition? And it ultimately leads to this, where they're locking certain mod shops and locations and missions and all that behind the Ultimate Edition. Which, Rockstar isn't the first to do that, although a lot of people are going to follow Rockstar by leading from example in this scenario. So it's going to be interesting to see, but yeah, I mean, it looks really, really nice, but yeah, I'm definitely curious to see how that all turns out. So, I mean, some people are speculating that there's going to be so many different shops all throughout the game and the world and all that kind of stuff, that the fact that these ones will be locked behind the Ultimate Edition isn't going to be the worst thing in the world. But honestly, we just don't know. We haven't seen enough of the game. For all we know, these could be the only shops in the game, and it's like, hey, if you want to mod your vehicles fancy like this, you got to get the Ultimate Edition. So we're definitely going to have to wait and see until we hear more about that, or we get gameplay, or we get people get hands-on with it and kind of explain how it works. But yeah, so that's going to be locked behind the Ultimate Edition. Unisex Salon, so you got some nice customizations for Jason and Lucia there. Pretty nice hairstyle there for both of them. Although, this salon is not going to be available to regular edition holders, only Ultimate Edition holders. So Another business lock behind there. The Shih Tzu Squallow. So perfect for casting in Gambit Bay and reeling in catches of all sorts. This gradient pink and blue Squallow, docked at the Washington Beach, is made ocean ready with an explosives laden weapons crate. So you get a nice little boat for pre-ordering. Or not pre-ordering, but getting the Ultimate Edition of the game. Some nice screenshots. It's got this really cool, like, Palm Beach kind of, like, skin on it, which looks really good. There's Jason and Lucia hanging out with some dolphins. A couple things I want to mention here that caught my attention and I'm very curious about. It says ocean ready with an explosives-laden weapons crate. I'm assuming that most likely means this thing right here, because this is like the only like interactable thing you can kind of see on the boat, unless it's maybe that right there in that seat. But yeah, it says explosive-laden weapon crate, which I don't really see a lot of people talking about. Which intrigues me a little bit, because that sounds like something deliberately said there to kind of catch people's attention. So, what does explosive-laden weapons crate mean? Does it mean it's a crate that we can store explosives in? Does it mean that it comes with explosives in it? Like maybe this boat comes with an RPG or a grenade launcher in it, or grenades or something like that, or C4. I mean, we just don't know, but not a lot of people talk about that weapons crate. Probably because people think it's just going to be a place we can store explosive weapons in, or just weapons in general in, which very much could be the case. We just don't have enough information, so we're just going to have to see. It looks like that's the anchor right there for the ship, so it'll be cool if we'll be able to interact with that and kind of keep our boat steady on the water, which would be really nice. There's also like a suitcase up there or something on it. Which might be something. Maybe that's the explosive weapons crate. There's also, looks like there's steps to an interior of this. I don't know how detailed the interiors of the boats are going to be. Most likely we're only going to be able to drive it. But I mean, again, I hope there's just more of an open sandbox aspect of it, and we're actually going to be able to like go into the interior of the boat. I mean, even just to sit down and look around. I mean, that would be nice, just to look at and, appreciate the details of these vehicles for sure. Also curious, there's like a scuba backpack set here. So I imagine we'll have access to scuba diving with this boat also. I don't know if it's something you have to interact with to get scuba gear, or if maybe it was like in GTA Online, where if you just kind of like fall off a certain edge or exit the vehicle a certain way, you'll automatically equip it on. But yeah, it'll be cool to scuba dive. And you know what? Surprisingly, I don't think we have any screenshots of the underwater of the game. I don't think. Not that I remember. There's also dolphins here. It looks like they're interacting with us, so that'll be cool if we can kind of see and interact with them in terms of that. And then also, Jason's bringing some drinks over here to Lucia. I'm very curious what how the like cooperative aspect of GTA 6 is going to be like. Not cooperative like, two-person co-op or anything like that. Although a two-person co-op update would be really fun to have for GTA 6, especially once the online mode comes out. Maybe we can get a co-op mode added for that one. I mean, Rockstar, make it happen. Let's get a co-op mode for GTA 6. That would be really cool. But anyways, so especially with how popular multiplayer games with friends and all that kind of stuff is. Like, imagine being able to, imagine you and your girl, you play as Jason, you play as Lucia, and you just wreak havoc in the game, or play the story missions and stuff like that, or rob restaurants. I don't know. So, but like, you see them sitting here and Jason's bringing Lucia some drinks. I'm curious how the interaction between these two is going to be in just like the open world. It's very possible. People have mentioned that this is just a scripted scene that we're watching them interact with. Which very much could be the case, although this could just be a dynamic thing that we could experience in the open world. So if we are in the open world and Lucia, if we're playing as Jason and Lucia is with us, if we like park this boat on the water by the dolphins, does she just kind of like go to the edge and sit down? Does she like jump in the water and swim a little bit? Is there special dialogue between you guys while you're just hanging out here? There's a lot of questions that I have about how the two characters are going to interact with each other when they're together in the open world, because you could, in GTA 5, you could have Michael, Franklin, Trevor, you could interact with all of those guys in the open world. So let's say you were playing as Franklin, you could buzz Michael on your phone and say, hey man, want to hang out? And Michael would be like, sure, buddy, I'll come hang out with you. And you go pick him up, you go grab a drink or something, or you just run around and cause chaos. And I really loved doing that because it was really fun to just shoot and kill people and get the cops on you. And then it's like you're driving or flying a helicopter or a plane or something like that. And then Franklin is there with you, helping you gun down police officers and stuff like that. And so it was really funny having those AI companions with you. So I'm curious how interactive the other AI companion is going to be when you're not playing as them directly. If you're going to be able to can we sit down on the edge of the boat and just hang out and listen to special dialogue, or can we lean on the railings? Rockstar did acquire a whole bunch of Grand Theft Auto RP developers and programmers and stuff like that who specialized in making a lot more immersive stuff to do in RP servers and stuff like that. And so RP servers are really popular in GTA 5 right now and even today. So it'll be curious to see if you can lean on the railing, or if you can sit down in a chair back there here, something like that, or just sit on the edge of the boat next to her. Who knows? We're just going to have to see. But I'm very curious how this is all going to work. For sure. So, and then we get a cool little picture of them confronting the police in this boat. Nice little view of the police helicopter with the guy leaning out of it. I hope there's a lot more aircraft variety and a lot more aircraft interactability. If you guys don't remember, in GTA 5, you could actually rappel off certain helicopters that had the rope grapple dispenser thing on the top part of it. So I'm hoping that we can do and mess around with stuff like that too, and that would be really fun to do. It'd be cool if we could rope ourselves up to a helicopter too. We'll have to see with that, but nice little police boat right there. With a guy sitting on the front shooting at him. There's a crate right there too. So I'm wondering if certain vehicles will have crates with guns in them already. So it's if you manage to kill these two guys and then hijack this boat, you could go to the crate and be like, oh, sweet, M16, or a grenade launcher or something. Or if you get in a passenger seat in a helicopter, you can be like, hey, I found the sniper rifle in the back. And then just start shooting people. So curious what these whole weapon laden crates are in these vehicles, and if other vehicles have crates with weapons in them, and if you can get exclusive weapons or unique weapons or something like that. It'll be interesting. So I'm curious about the sandbox and interactive elements of that as well, which I don't see a lot of people talking about either. So, but nice, beautiful look at the skyline right there for sure. Looks like there's a little bit of a bigger yacht back there, so I'm curious if we'll be able to drive those. There's also cargo ships and stuff like that in the promotional material, so I'm hoping we can take control of those too, because those would be fun to drive around in. Stock 305, another exclusive store location with outfits and hairstyles and all that kind of stuff. It looks like even potentially a livery for certain vehicles and stuff like that, possibly. So again, only open for business with the Ultimate Edition. So, you better pony up if you want any of that stuff for sure. Very nice outfits. Very nice outfits. Very nice. Vapid Dominator buggy. So you get this off-road version of the Vapid Dominator 67. Mud Club monster offering impressive off-road handling for the backroads of Mount Calaga and beyond. Conveniently store it at the Paradise Garage in Watson Bay, which features a weapon locker plus a secure place to deposit stolen goods to be fenced. So you can kind of see right there, nice little off-road buggy kind of car. Looks pretty cool and fun. Lots of details there with that. Interesting. It says a Mud Club monster. So it's do we have to be part of the Mud Club to get it? Or do we just get it automatically after a certain point in the game, after we reach a certain chapter or something like that? Or do we get this right away? Mount Calaga, we need more information on this. I think there's screenshots on the website about it. We just don't know too much about what that location is going to look like. And beyond is an interesting thing to say. A lot of people are speculating whether or not this GTA 6 map will have the rest of the US continent attached to it, and it'll just be something like Skyrim where it's like you can, you could see Oblivion from like the distance or something like that, but you can't like access it or anything. It's like blocked off or something. Not sure, or if it's going to be a GTA 5 situation where it's like all of Leonida and all that kind of stuff is just surrounded by ocean and it's just all water surrounded and stuff like that. It'd be pretty interesting to see if they have anything like that. Paradise Garage in Watson Bay features a weapon locker. So again, it's a question of whether or not this is just a place to store weapons, or if there's actually going to be weapons in them already when we get them. We'll have to wait and see. Oh, and then also a secure place to deposit stolen goods to be fenced. So, Red Dead Redemption 2 had a mechanic where, after you stole something, you had to fence it off, which essentially is like a middle guy. So like, hey, I stole these gold bricks. I need you to smelt them down for me and then give me the money for it, or sell them to someone. And all that. And they'll be like, yeah, sure, I can do that for a cut or whatever. And it's like, so interesting that this location is going to be locked in the Ultimate Edition. And so you're not going to have an extra place to fence goods if you don't have the Ultimate Edition for this one. So definitely, again, we need more information on how fencing is going to work and all that kind of stuff. But interesting that is going to be locked behind there as well. Maybe there aren't going to be as many fencing locations as we would like. And this would be, or maybe this one's in a really convenient spot for a lot of missions. We just don't know. I'm sure a lot of stuff in this edition of GTA 6 is very meticulously planned out so that on the surface, it may not look like you need them, but later on, especially maybe while you're playing the game, you may realize, holy shit, I actually need this stuff to have a much more fluent experience and stuff like that. Because on the surface of all of this, I mean, yeah, sure, we've got shops, mod shops, and businesses, and drop-off points and all that kind of stuff locked behind. So the question is, what in Rockstar's minds made this stuff worthy of being locked behind the Ultimate Edition? Because I guarantee you they need to, with the amount of money that this game has cost to make, they need to recoup as much money back as they possibly could. So, and we'll talk about that a little bit later when we go to discussing the price and everything on there with that. But my question is I'm not necessarily frustrated about some of the stuff that is locked behind the Ultimate Edition per se, but it's more of a question of why did they lock this stuff specifically, right? Everything has a reason for it, right? So why did Rockstar lock all this stuff behind the Ultimate Edition, right? You may not think about it too much on the surface, but like I was saying before, maybe, this location, like maybe there's a lot of off-road segments in the missions. And you're like, holy crap, I wish I had this Vapid Dominator buggy to be able to drive more efficiently in the mud and in the wilderness with that. Or maybe this location, this garage with the weapons locker and the fence, maybe this is in a very convenient spot where it's like, hey, I just robbed a bunch of convenience stores. Holy crap, I have a ton of money. I don't want to lose it. Oh, if I pay a little bit more to get the Ultimate Edition, I'll have a location that's really nearby me that's very convenient to be able to drop all this off for that one. And that's another thing about it, too. If you access these locations in the game, are they just going to be blank? Are they going to be closed? Are these businesses going to be closed? Are they going to be open, but you just can't use them? Are you going to get a pop-up on your screen or a message at the top left or right that says, hey, purchase the Ultimate Edition in order to access? Or will it say it'll be bare bones and it'll say out of business or something like that? Pre-order, get the Ultimate Edition in order to access. We just don't know. We need more information, so we're just going to have to kind of wait and see until Rockstar throws us another bone for that. But yeah, not a lot of questions. I mean, there's a lot of questions going around about GTA 6. But I definitely think there can definitely be more questions asked about certain things about it. A lot of people like to focus on specific things about it. and kind of hyper focus on stuff and complain and rant and all that kind of stuff. But I think we could have a little bit more of a detailed discussion about how all this is going to play a factor. So, yeah, very interesting to see. Electric Fang Tattoo, another business locked behind the Ultimate Edition. Some very interesting tattoos and stuff indeed. Very cool outfits for Jason and Lucia, looking very different with that one. Very interesting choice of outfits for these guys. I don't know if this makes them exclusive or not. But yeah, I mean, they look like they do their job pretty well, so, you know. But again, you won't, like, will this door be locked? Will the sign be off? Will it say, oh, not open for business? Who knows? One-Eyed Willie's Mod Shop. So again, another mod shop available. This one specializing in off-road modifications. So again, is this going to be the only one? Are there going to be other off-road mod shops? Are you going to, like, you know, not be able to customize your off-road vehicles as thoroughly as you could without that? We just don't know. We need more information. Very cool looking Canis pickup truck SUV thing, whatever you want to call that. Jeep. Yeah, very nice. But yeah, also some people speculate whether or not, like, these guys, like with the like the ride out, like if this is what it looks like when you're in the game and be like, hey, I need my car modified, and then be like, all right, and then your car gets like pulled into this spot, and then it's like you'll see them like, oh, need a new engine. Then this guy, like, it bumps up and they slide under and they install it. If it's going to be a very thorough animation, or if this is just kind of like a visual thing. Because like GTA 5, you kind of just pulled your car in and you could just see the stuff being changed instantly in real time. So it's curious to see if that's going to be, if that's kind of how it's going to be, and you'll see them kind of like messing around with stuff in your car and animations when you install new stuff. So very curious, but only open for business in the Ultimate Edition. So I hope you didn't like customizing off-road vehicles, because, you know, you can't do that without the Ultimate Edition. Good time gear. Some nice Maka the Gator, who's like a cartoon character in there, I guess. Be interesting to see exactly if he's like featured in any animated cartoons or something like that, like Impotent Rage or stuff like that from GTA 5. But some fun little clothing there with that. PT Youngins Illegal Goods Store. So this is another point of contention for a lot of people. So this is apparently a gang compound that you're going to be able to raid. Raid the compound of one of Southside Vice City's loudest and most socially active gangs and escape safely to score some special items and distinct contraband. So yeah, an entire like side mission compound raid locked behind the Ultimate Edition. Again, there could be an abundance of this kind of stuff, or this could be one of the only handful of the ones that you can do. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how that all works. I imagine we'll be able to get like some bike customization stuff, or like a whole bike as a part of that, or some cosmetic stuff like the gloves, where you can see this gun pistol SMG here has a lot of customization on there as well. It looks like a Glock with a bunch of modifications on it, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see all the cool stuff that you can raid from that for sure. And then last but not least, we have the Classic Cars collection. So track down a variety of abandoned classic and work-in-progress project cars and revitalize them to their former glory in this special commission from an eccentric collector and local fixer, Wyman. Apparently, Wyman was a character that was leaked way many years back, and we finally got to see him in official material again, which is pretty interesting. So, looks like a fun little mechanical collector guy, kind of guy. And you can see, so a whole side mission, essentially, of collecting and restoring all these collectible classic cars and stuff like that. And you can see this is actually the car from the promotional stuff here, from that one. So from that, so yeah. So yeah, all in all, Ultimate Edition, it's definitely got a good chunk of stuff in there. Now, is that stuff worth a lot, in my opinion? I mean, it's going to be up to you whether or not this is going to be worth it for you. I guess we'll go into the pricing Let me see. All right, so you can see here, Standard Edition, $79.99. Ultimate Edition, $9.99. Apparently, it's going to run the best on PlayStation, PS5. I got a PS5 Pro specifically for Grand Theft Auto 6, so hopefully I can max out my performance with that and enjoy that a lot. There's also apparently going to be an upgrade version, so if you buy the Standard Edition and you want to upgrade later down the line, you will be able to do that. So interesting to see how that's going to kind of work out, but yeah, $80 for the base game, $90 or $100, $80 for the base game, $100 for the Ultimate Edition. That's probably been the biggest shock about this whole thing. There were a lot of people, especially people in like the banking industry and finance and all that kind of stuff. And I was really hoping that Grand Theft Auto 6 would price out at $100 for like the Standard Edition, and then like, I don't know, like $120 for like the Ultimate Edition, or maybe even more than that, to be honest with you. Definitely curious as to why Rockstar chose to do $80 for the base edition and $100 for the Ultimate Edition. Especially when there's no physical discs or anything like that whatsoever. I don't know. It's very interesting. And again, everything's done for a reason. So like the question is, why did Rockstar price the base game at $80 and not higher? Did they think they could not get away with it? Did they think the outrage would be too massive if they priced it any higher than that? I mean, I suppose Rockstar isn't the first person to do $80 games. That would have been Nintendo to be the first to charge $80 with Mario Kart World, which now that GTA 6 pre-ordering has gone online and we have a price point for it, yeah, GTA 6 is probably going to be leagues ahead of Mario Kart World in terms of value per price. And that just makes Mario Kart World look even worse. I bet you the only reason Mario Kart World sold good anyways was not because it was $80, but because you could get it bundled with the Switch, and then the value of it technically would have been $50 at the time. But anyways, yeah, so crazy to think that I guess that they didn't think they could get away with more than $80 for the base game. Or maybe they have more monetization plans in place. Because again, I mean, at the end of the day, Rockstar has to make their money back from this game somehow. They might, I guess, maybe they can go heavily aggressive on the advertising and monetization in like GTA 6 online. And so they're just going to try and recoup as much as they can with the single player version first. I mean, the Ultimate Edition is only $20 off. So, I mean, again, we don't know how important those shops and locations and mod shops and all that stuff is going to be in that game in GTA 6. But if it's not really that important, you know, I mean, $20 more for the Ultimate Edition doesn't really seem like that big of a stretch. And maybe that's what they're potentially banking on, is that the price, the difference between the Standard and the Ultimate Edition is like so low for people. People would be like, yeah, an extra $20. Yeah, I'll do that. And I'll get all the extra goodies and stuff like that. It's definitely really, really interesting to see all that. So, well, yeah, there you have it. So the Standard and the Ultimate Edition. Let me see. I think there might have been more screenshots that were uploaded. Oh, yeah. And another talking point of contention. No physical disc version ever, anywhere. Well, we don't know that. We haven't heard anything quite yet. It's definitely curious because, I mean, obviously, probably the main reason. Well, this might not even be the main reason. Yeah, see, there's Mount Calaga National Park, so that's kind of what that place is going to look like for there, which is pretty cool, pretty in-depth kind of place, you know. But it's interesting to see. Oh, I didn't even notice this one. Is there going to be car washes in the game? Maybe that'd be kind of nice. But yeah, a lot of people are saying they didn't do a physical edition for, leaked reasons, because Rockstar, they absolutely have to avoid this game getting out before the official launch date. So there's no physical editions at launch. Some people are speculating that there's going to be a physical version later down the line. Some people, I think, have even speculated that, like, hey, if you buy the physical edition that comes with a code in the box, you're going to be able to get a physical disc later on as a part of your physical edition. You just won't get it at the launch to avoid leaks and spoilers and all that. Oh yeah, here's some underwater scuba diving stuff as a part of that, which looks really nice. So we just don't know. Other people are much more conspiratorial, and they speculate that this is Rockstar's like big push for the gaming industry as a whole to completely phase out physical editions. And so, if your game is controlled by code and it's like completely locked to Rockstar's whim, they can just revoke your access at any point they want. Maybe there's like a huge controversial thing in the game, and then all of a sudden they can pull the game from sale and be like, hey, we're not letting people play this game until we fix this or whatever or something. I mean, I don't know. I bet you Strauss Zelnick could just snap his fingers and just say, all right, revoke everybody's copies of GTA 6 right now. That's the control and the power that they would have over this game, because it's digital and there's no physical version of it. This will probably be the most pirated game of all time ever, especially at $80 for the standard edition. Imagine being able to just pirate GTA 6 and just get the Ultimate Edition completely solo, cracked. It's going to be interesting to see for sure. And honestly, with the way that this digital world is going and how we're owning nothing that we buy, I mean, shit, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people did that. Just to secure like an actual copy of the game for themselves to keep and control themselves. So yeah, some more fun screenshots. I like this one a lot. That's the Ferris wheel from the little interactive thing before. But yeah, people speculate that Rockstar is doing that to not only prevent leaks, but also to just kill physical distribution, to kind of be that final push for the industry to say, you know what? We're not doing physical games anymore. And so every other video game company will look at Rockstar and go, well, if Rockstar won't do it, why should we? And so they're going to make this big push into this huge digital world, and we're not going to own anything that we buy. This guy over here, Raul Batista, looking like fucking Raul Menendez from Black Ops 2. Am I right, guys? But yeah, a little bit more of a conspiratorial idea, which I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but like I can believe situations where one company or one person or a group of people or a corporation or whatever would do something to take advantage of or inconvenience or whatever another person, right? So, I mean, Rockstar not doing a physical release so they can phase out physical media from sale for the rest of the industry entirely by leading by example. I mean, yeah, makes sense. I could believe something like that. So we're going to have to just wait and see. November, I mean, we're coming up to July right now. So, I mean, November is a few months down the line. So, I mean, we're getting closer and closer to the release of GTA 6. So I'm definitely curious and interested, and I want to see where this goes, what more information we hear. Hopefully we get a physical edition of some kind, even if it's shortly after launch, and it's like, hey, if you buy the physical edition, you're going to get a code for launch, but we're going to give you a disc like a month or so after. Here's how you can redeem that, all that kind of stuff. Who knows? And I'm curious to see what we learn about the online component, if we get any more details and information about that. I really need to see that gameplay trailer. I'm not going to pre-order either version of GTA 6 until I see gameplay, because I need to see how this game looks. We need to see how it runs on the hardware. A lot of people say that, all these screenshots that Rockstar gives us, all of this, like, there's no telling that this is just running locally native on like a PS5 Pro, right? This could be on a freaking NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5090 graphics card PC max settings. This could be all from the PC version for all we know, really. You know what I mean? Like there's no telling, and like even reporters have speculated that these screenshots are not indicative of the actual, you know, the actual game itself. You know, it's all just for cinematics and stuff like that. So I'm gonna wait until I get a gameplay trailer of that. But yeah, Grand Theft Auto 6 pre-orders are live. If you're interested in getting it, those are the editions for you. Basic edition, $80. Ultimate edition, $100. Get lots of extra goodies with the Ultimate edition. You get pre-order bonuses for getting either of them before the 20th, and a free month of GTA Plus with that as well. That's another thing I'm curious about. GTA Plus. I hate subscription services, and I hate subscription services that lock stuff and bonuses and all that kind of stuff in video games, like, you know, the Fallout Pass or whatever they call it for Fallout 76. I absolutely hate it. And I hate that Rockstar followed in the footsteps and they got GTA Plus. So it's like you get cash and bonuses and all that kind of stuff, discounts on shark cards and all that kind of stuff. So I'm sure at the launch of GTA 6 Online, I'm sure that's going to look very enticing for a lot of people. And I mean, maybe I'll even pay some money for it if the value proposition is worth it. But we'll just have to wait and see until we hear more. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like the video, please be sure to pay it forward. And yeah, this is